All right, guys. So we got to talk about late night comedian Jimmy Kimmel, who, in my opinion, I think is extremely washed up, overrated. I'm not sure why this guy still has a job. But anyways, he brought on Bill Burr, who is an actual comedian, right? He's an actual funny man. And they talked about Trump. And Bill Burr brought up a good point that I want to talk about in regards to the mainstream liberal media's obsession with Trump and Trump derangement syndrome, and how the media is actually helping Trump win because of all their Trump derangement, okay? And this is something I've talked about before, but it's pretty interesting to see that even Bill Burr, whose wife apparently hates Trump, right, can see what happens as a result of the obsession that we have in this country with Trump. It does nothing but make Trump stronger. Take a listen.
Like, I know what I'm going to tell my kids when they get to a certain age. I really am. Like, I have it down.
You have it
about
planned
religion and people.
Really?
Narcissists, sociopaths, all of this type of stuff. Like, you want to see a great case thing on, like, narcissism. Liberals are so stupid the way that they handle Trump.
What do you mean?
You should shut up. He's a narcissist. Neutral energy.
Yeah.
Neutral.
You think he'd go away? If
You know what I think he was? I think he was a one-hit wonder. Right? He wrote The Twist. And then that was it. He was on the casino circuit, and then you idiot liberals wrote him Twist again when you indicted him. And now he's a martyr.
And now he's
coming back, Jimmy.
The peppermint twist
He's
is back.
coming back. It's going to be great for comedy. He's coming back. I can't believe, like, these are honestly going to be our two choices, because I really try to, with each thing, to try to be, like, figure out who I'm going to, but I mean, it's got to be, I want somebody in their 40s, somebody that's going to have to live with their decisions. I don't want, like, with any luck.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Now, I think at least some of the things that Bill Burr is saying I agree with, even though it seems to me that he may have a little bit of TDS himself. I don't think that his case of TDS is as serious as somebody like Jimmy Kimmel, for example, who never stops talking about Trump. He can't keep Trump's name out of his mouth, right? But what Bill Burr is saying about the mainstream liberal media and the fact that they've made Trump a martyr is 100% true. And I brought up this point so many times, okay, when it comes to Trump and the mainstream liberal media obsession with him. They have done nothing but make Trump stronger. For as much as these people claim that they're scared to death of Trump becoming president again, because they say that he's going to be a dictator, it's going to be the end of democracy, right? There won't be any elections. Ironically, what's happening is that constant attention, that constant fear-mongering about Trump is actually just making Trump stronger. This is the Teflon Don effect, right? The more you attack Trump, the stronger he gets. And I think that effect is even more powerful in 2023 and going into 2024 because of just how bad of a shape the country's in currently, right? It makes no logical sense why the mainstream liberal media obsesses over a guy in which everybody can say objectively, right? If you're not biased, if you take your bias out of it, everybody can see that the country was in a much better place under Trump than it currently is under Biden, okay? Our borders were more secure. The economy was in much better shape. We weren't sending money overseas at the rate that we're sending it right now. There weren't a bunch of new wars, right? The country was just in a much better place under Trump. So when you're spending all this time attacking one man, a man who, objectively speaking, had this country in a much better place, I think a lot of people see that and they realize that the mainstream liberal media doesn't actually have the best interest of this country at heart, right? Because if they had the best interest of this country at heart, they would spend more time attacking Biden, going after Biden, than they would going after a man in which the country was in a much better place under, right? I do think that the constant attacks, the constant reminding of Trump just helps Trump, right? The more attention that he gets, the more that it helps him, because it does make it look like there is a effort by the powers that be to take down this individual, right? It makes him seem like that he's actually the good guy, right? And you're the bad guy, because clearly the bad guy in the White House is not getting enough criticism and there's not enough focus on him. He's actually in power. He's actually in charge. Trump is not. But with the coverage in the mainstream liberal media, you would think that Trump is in charge. Trump is not in charge. But yet he gets all the coverage. And that's what's happening. I mean, I've told you guys this before. Trump's poll numbers were at its worst before the indictment, right? Before Trump was indicted, Trump's poll numbers were at its worst because they weren't talking about Trump as much, right? The more that you ignore Trump, that's actually how you defeat Trump. But for whatever reason, the mainstream liberal media, they can't help themselves. They can't help themselves. They just have to talk about Orange Man. They're obsessed with talking about Orange Man, okay? And I think one of the reasons why is because they don't know how to talk about anything else. They spent 4 years obsessing over one man, and now that they don't have that man in office, they realize that, okay, well, we talk about Biden, he's not doing good, and let's keep it 100. Negative news sells, right? And the way that you make the most money in media is to always talk about negative things, right? Positive news, that don't get views, right? So you always have to be talking about something negative in order to attract viewers. And they don't really want to talk about the Biden administration negatively, because the more they talk about the Biden administration negatively, the more that it presumably helps Trump. So what they do, right, what they do is they say, okay, well, we don't want to talk about Biden, so we got to talk about Trump, and we got to talk about Trump negatively all the time, which really just helps Trump, right? That's kind of the crazy part about it. That's the crazy thing that you're seeing happening, is that no matter what they do, they're basically helping Trump, and they're probably helping Trump more by talking about him rather than just ignoring him and talking about Biden, right? Which is the crazy part. And I don't understand why they haven't figured this out. But again, you know, it's almost as if they want Trump to win. Because from a financial perspective, straight up, Jimmy Kimmel and a lot of these people in the mainstream liberal media, MSNBC, CNN, they're going to do a lot better if/when Trump wins in 2024. Like, if Trump became president again, it's going to be a money train for these networks, right? I'm almost convinced that they kind of want Trump to win. They claim they don't, but they kind of do from a financial perspective, because their viewership heyday was when Trump was in office. So this is why they can't stop obsessing over him, because quite literally, from a financial perspective, if Trump were to go away, these people would go bankrupt, right? They would lose so much money. They wouldn't know what to talk about or how to talk about news, because all the news has been centered around Trump for the last 5, 6, 7 years. It's pretty amazing. But again, you know, despite these people fear-mongering about Trump winning, it almost seems as if they want Trump to win the most because they can't stop obsessing with the guy. And the more that they obsess over him, the more that they go after him, the more that they attack him, they just make it look like that Trump is a martyr, that, you know, Trump is the good guy, right? He's the guy that's fighting against the powers that be that want to keep, you know, everybody in the country oppressed. That's literally what it looks like, right? That's literally what it looks like. And it just simply makes the man stronger. And for whatever reason, the mainstream liberal media hasn't figured this out. But then again, I really believe that it's being done on purpose. It's done on purpose because ultimately, from a financial perspective, it's just better for Trump to win. It's better for Trump to win. Then they can just spend the next 4 years fear-mongering over him, and they'll actually get views. The viewership will come back because Trump will actually be in the White House. Trump will be in power. So again, I think some of it is, you know, again, they don't know how to talk about anybody but Trump, right? And they hate Trump so much, they want to talk about it all the time. But I think also some of it is the fact that there is a financial incentive to talk about Trump. There's actually a financial incentive for the media for Trump to win again, right? Because again, they can just fearmonger all day and they will get a ton of eyeballs and viewership, right? About the Trump dictatorship. So again, I think Bill Burr brings up a good point about how all these liberals, people like Jimmy Kimmel, who claim that they hate Trump so much, they're so afraid of him being back in office, but these people are the most responsible if Trump gets elected again. I mean, again, Trump's poll numbers were at their lowest when he was being ignored, right? The way that you beat Trump is you actually just ignore Trump, right? You just don't talk about him. And then it's almost kind of like, well, he's less popular, right? He's less on the top of people's minds. But when you have Trump, being indicted, going through all these trials, these tribulations, always been talked about in the news media, he stays at the top of people's minds and he doesn't go away, right? And that's what you're seeing happening right there. That's why I think that the more that they continue to go after him, the stronger he's gonna get. And that's been what's happening, right? That is what's happening. So hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.